Hi guys, and welcome back to Keep Smiling Adventures. And on this channel we have now done quite a few bikepacking routes in the UK, so I thought today it would be a good opportunity to share my top 5 favourite UK bikepacking routes so far. Now there's still a few that I need to get ticked off the list, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to share with you my top 5 bikepacking routes in the UK so far. So let's get into it. At number 5 is the South Downs Way, a route that we have tackled in a few different ways now on this channel, from an overnighted trip in one ride and also the double non-stop ride. But as a bikepacking route, I think this route is one that you should go give a go. It's a well-signed route, making it pretty accessible to ride even if you don't have a GPS device or really bad map reading skills. You really don't even need a map, as it's pretty well signed, and the route even has water taps along the way, making this route just that little bit more nicer. I really enjoyed doing this route over a couple of nights, and although there are some challenging terrain with lots of elevation, which can become tiring at times, but in my opinion, the longer you take on this route, the better it gets. It's a route that is pretty easy to get to and from, with train stations either side, and a ride that I think has a lot of fun riding with some challenging climbs to make sure you get that sense of achievement when you finish. The views are incredible all through this route, from being able to look out to sea or the sweeping rolling countryside. Wherever you look, you get to see the beauty in the adventure. As far as bikepacking routes go, this one is probably one of the routes that you should probably give a go, especially if you are looking or preparing for some more epic long trips in the future, as it's a great shakedown ride for your bike. From sunrise to sunset to sleeping under the stars on the South Downs Way, this bikepacking route is one you should definitely try. At number 4 is the Old Chalk Way. This route is a pretty new route, and you may be forgiven for thinking it is the same as an older route called the Greater Ridgeway, also known as the Great Chalk Way. And although it does use some parts from that route, it's slightly different. Ben, who put this route together, wanted to make a version of the Greater Ridgeway a more bike-packing friendly route, a more rideable version if you like, with more smiles and less hike a bike, a route that is more for the fun and less for the tears. And I think he did a great job here, as for a route that is relatively long at 360 miles or 575 kilometers, sometimes the routes can get a bit obsessive with being off-road at all costs, whether rideable or not. And this route does a great job of keeping you on the bike with very little, if any, hike-a-bike sections, depending on your level of skill. This route is a coast-to-coast style route, so it gets bonus points as I am drawn to the ocean. The flow of this route is great, with a lumpy start and ending with more flat sections as you get towards the end, which makes it feel more like a pleasure and not a chore. I'd highly recommend giving this route a go if you get a chance, as it's a lot of fun, and it's more fun than it is hard. There is plenty of places to wild camp along this route, which makes this a great route for sleeping under the stars and not under a roof. A great adventure. Number 3 is the West Country Way, another coast-to-coast route, a route that I had a lot of fun with. This route starts in Plymouth and crosses Dartmoor and Exmoor in an off-road adventure, finishing at a place called Minehead. This route is just a lot of fun, with such beautiful terrain, taken in Dartmoor and Exmoor National Parks. This route gives you a really remote sense of adventure. This route also gives you the opportunity to legally wild camp in Dartmoor National Park, pretty much the only place in England where it is officially allowed in certain areas. Being a coast-to-coast route of course makes this a great ride, as you can finish the ride with a laydown on the beach. The route itself had a bit of everything in terms of riding, with some hiker bike, some fast downhill sections, some technical, some flowy, and plenty of climbing. But a challenge that is enough rewarding as it is beautiful. I did this route on a very hot couple of days, which was made all the better with lots of rivers and stream crossings that I could use to cool down in. The fact that this route has a bit of everything and that you can legally wild camp, I think it makes a great bikepacking route that you should definitely check out. Whether you are an experienced rider or not, this route is worth taking on. It's a ride that I always look back on and think, yep, that was a great trip. Beautiful camp spots, fun riding, and a rewarding challenge. At number 2 is the Great North Trail. And I know you might be thinking, how is this not number 1? And honestly, it could be, but I think it just fits better at number 2. This ride is one of them rides that you probably only get to do once, as it's a fairly long old ride and can take quite a bit of time. 800 miles of everything. This route has everything. From pain to smiles, tears to laughter, endless trails, and so many views. A ride with lasting memories, a ride that will test every bit of yourself, a ride that will push you to breaking point, a ride that 1 minute you don't think you can make it, to the next minute you are loving every second of it. This ride as a bikepacking route is obviously for someone who likes to go a bit big and epic, and this route is definitely great for that. The fact that this route literally ends in the middle of nowhere in the most northwesterly part of Scotland really lets you experience what adventure is all about. Camp spots with views that money can't buy and just endless scenery to take in makes this a route that if you can get the opportunity to do it, then you most certainly should, because you will get to experience every single emotion possible with a trip like this. My number 1 UK bikepacking route so far is going to be the Bare Bones Bash. This trip for me just felt amazing. Everything about this trip was just great. The route was always fun to ride, the climbing was long and hard sometimes, but very rarely, if ever, unrideable. This had so much amazing and fun to ride single track and big open gravel roads. This ride for me was just great. It never felt like a chore, and the route is well thought out to be rideable and nice and flowy. This route had some of my favourite camp spots and some of the best night's sleep I remember. The weather definitely helped with this ride being mostly really hot, meaning I had plenty of opportunities to have a nice swim in the streams along the way. This was easily just the most fun bikepacking route I have done. When I look back at this trip, I just remember how fun everything was to ride. And the reason this gets my number 1 spot for me is it's just way more likely that I could go and do this route again and again. It's not an overly long route that could be done in an epic day or a week at a really relaxing pace and just taking it all in. Most bikepacking routes I do once, and after I have done them once, I am very unlikely to think to myself, I'd like to do that route again. But with this route, I could have definitely just finished and gone around again, because I just enjoyed the location, the riding, the camping, and the adventure so much. And that is why it's my number 1 UK bikepacking route so far. So guys, there are my top 5 UK bikepacking routes that I have done so far, and yeah, I just generally think them top 5 are ones that you should definitely think about doing. if you are in the UK and you are looking for some bikepacking routes. Now, I'll put the links to all the routes and everything in the description. Everything you need to know to get the routes will be down below in there, so check that out if you want any of the routes. So they were my top 5 UK bikepacking routes so far. We've definitely got a few more to tick off the list, but so far they are my top 5. So if you've enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, consider giving it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Let's keep this channel growing. And until next time, keep smiling, enjoy the adventure. Peace.